Some of these places and faces may be long gone, but the memory of their existence lives on in many people's minds. Barbara Chapman is one lady who is dedicated to keeping the memories of bygone days alive. Releasing her latest book, Life in Changing Times, the continuing story of Newton Butler, Barbara hopes that her stories will educate the younger generations of what this border community was once like.
Well, I'm glad to record things that happened long ago, because a lot of people don't realise the way things were. We have milk delivered in a bottle, and it comes from 5 Mile Town, and the shops kindly deliver things for me. And on the whole, there have been quite a lot of changes here. We have a historical society which is doing very well, and it's run by Michael McPhillips. It's given me great pleasure to do this more recent one, bringing things up to date.
Barbara moved to Newton Butler in 1930 when she was just a baby. It was the time of tin baths, oil lamps and outside toilets, a time when water had to be conserved and pots and pans were placed in the garden to collect rainwater. These may have been simple times, but they were happy times, Barbara recalls.
Originally I came from England. My father was in the Customs and Excise. Shortly after the border was formed, about 1920 I think it was, and we lived outside Lisnaskea at a place called Forfey, and we had some very good neighbours there called Curran, and I still keep in contact with them, and the photograph of one of them is in the book. So when I was 6 years old, we moved into Newton Butler, and I have lived there ever since. I've had a very good life living in Newton Butler, and everybody has been so friendly, and now that I have done these books, everybody's been very cooperative.
The book is filled with lovely stories of what life was like in Newton Butler throughout the 1900s. One story in particular tells us of how cows crossed Barbara's back door on their way to the fields, leaving her a little present on the way.
Well, early on, after we came to Newton Butler, milk was delivered by the local farmer, and the cows passed over the back doorstep, and we left the can outside the door, and the man who was looking after the cattle left the fresh milk, unpasteurised, in the can at the door. So I was brought up on unpasteurised milk, and things were all different then.
Her good friend and local historian Vicky Herbert helped to put together the book and says for her it was a labour of love.
Well, it's been actually wonderful because it has entailed a bit of work, but it's been a great joy because Barbara has so many memories that it's like travelling through a history lesson when you're talking with Barbara or looking at her photographs or looking at her notes for the book, and you think, wow, that is absolutely fantastic. It hasn't been at all troublesome or something that I would connect with work. I would have considered it one of my personal hobbies, but dealing with a great friend of mine, Barbara, who's helped me, and we've cooperated with things over the years, so it has been a wonderful experience.
The book can be found in local shops throughout Fermanagh, with all proceeds going to a cancer charity of Barbara's choice.